and she's setting up, so I'm not going to bother her right now. Actually, since she's here, there she is.
I'm happy to answer questions.
And good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
It's great to see you again.
It's great to see you too.
And again, Jennifer is the filmmaker of the Travis documentary, which is, there you go. You can see the poster. And I'll get her together with her poster.
Okay.
And you can go to On Wings Productions, and that's Wings with an E. So it's ONWINGES Productions. Oh, good.
The first version has won over 10 major film festival awards.
I was there for one of them.
in New York.
The Philip K. Dick Festival?
K. Dick Festival, except
in New York City.
Screened it. And that surprised me because that was a more of a science fiction film or a film festival.
Right.
And this is a true story. It's not a science fiction
Exactly.
story, but it deals with what we've considered for a long time to be a science fiction topic.
Right.
But in reality, it's a real phenomenon.
Well, before we move on to what you're going to be discussing today, I just want to tell those that are watching and listening that you can see purchase, and you can see the trailers on the website as well as purchase the Travis documentary, which you can see the poster right there, and that's at On Wings Productions. So that's Wings with an E. So ONWINGES Productions with an S. .com or Travis
TravisWaltonTheMovie.com.
There you go, TravisWaltonTheMovie.com. Now today you're going to be speaking about crop circles for approximately 90 minutes, hopefully. Now I've seen your presentation and I thought it was outstanding. I have to tell those that are watching that I was on the fence before I saw Jennifer's presentation, and afterwards I have to say that those that were there with me as well as those that were watching in the audience were really impressed and taken aback by the scientific research and the physical evidence that she shows, and she'll be displaying right there on that screen. She does a whole discussion based on what she's doing. So how has this been received, and how has this crop circle presentation gone for you?
Well, I continue to edit and revise the presentation depending on the audience that I'm speaking and where in the country I'm presenting. So, and since I'm a filmmaker, I also like to make the material as accessible and as simple as possible. We're talking about basically 6th to 10th grade, science concepts. Nothing that is going to be too complicated for people to wrap their brains around. But what I've tried to do is show the evidence that exists in formations in the United States. A lot of people know of formations in England and in places around the world. They don't know that many formations have actually happened here, or that similar situations occur here in the United States as have occurred in England, for example. So I take the American formations, show the characteristics that are in the field that we see that seem to be repeating characteristics and similar. And then I try to explain what the theories are that create those characteristics, because it's still a big mystery. I don't have the answer to it, but I provide information that allow people to think through for themselves and maybe encourage them to go and do some more research themselves. And I bring in known science on highly charged particles that come into our magnetosphere from solar rays and things like that, solar flares, coronal mass ejections, the problems that we face in the future with that, what we know about Birkeland currents and Bennett Z-pinch. I go into a little bit about that.
It's very well researched and science. There's a lot of data there to go over.
There is a lot of data, but there's still a lot of big question marks. So what I do is get people to think more deeply on these things.
Is there a correlation between the crop circles here in the United States and those that are found in the UK and other regions of the world?
Yes, and that they occur usually when there's times of coronal mass ejections and high amounts of solar flares going on, as well as droughts, water tables lowering, and possibly some sort of interface between ground current and atmospheric currents, which connect with one another just like lightning does. But it may be a phenomenon that's not well understood, with Birkeland currents, sprites, and plasma fields that could be generated from them.
And what about the sightings of orbs or other objects seen over crop circles? Is there any kind of validity to that?
Well, there is. There's lots of validity. I have seen things as well, and videotaped light orbs and unusual things. It could literally be a phenomenon spillover from this electromagnetic charge or energy that is interacting with the ground and the upper atmosphere. So these could be sparks or charges which are left over and floating, you know, or they could be somehow intelligently controlled. This is the big question.
Right. And a lot of people have this perception that they think that the crops are simply just pushed over. But you show, like I said, I seen this a few months ago, you showed the growth, the irregularities in the growth.
Yes.
It's structural. It's just not that these are pushed over and bent over like many people assume.
Right. And the seeds have been studied with seed germination studies by Professor Levengood, and this is very interesting material, that the germination studies show that seeds inside formations, which have been impacted by some energy, seem to germinate much faster. They have greater resistance to disease and things like this going forward. It may affect more than one generation in the crop, and they tend to grow with more resistance to disease and drought.
Oh, and what about those that claim that there could be some type of mathematical code embedded in some of these crop circles, like a message?
Well, there are. We have actually discovered mathematical codes. Certain physicists, like Gerald Hawkins, have found codes they have been looking for in certain mathematical theorems they've been looking for years. And boom, they just appear in the formation. This is the big problem and the big question that perplexes many, many people. And it's difficult to explain this, except that if you look at the atomic structure of the way most objects bond on the planet, whether it's glass or metals or organic materials, they all form bonds through electrons linking with one another, and those bonds are in the shapes of platonic solids, and those are very sophisticated patterns. So it might just be a natural phenomenon that these patterns exist because we see them in nature. We know no two snowflakes seem to be the same. They freeze in completely different ways, and it's fascinating and astonishing to us. So there may be something to this which is natural, which we don't understand, or there may be another intelligent design to it that we have yet to fully understand.
The presentation that you're doing today, is it going to be also available somewhere on your website, or
I don't
where
have a
people...
documentary yet that goes in depth on this topic, although I may like to at some point. There are, I think, a number of people who have filmed me and posted it online. And as I said, year after year, my presentation continues to expand and grow. And this year I've been asked to speak at Open Minds on crop circles. It's a nice honor, so I'll be out there in February, and I'm sure that will eventually be posted online somewhere as well.
Oh, yeah. I want to thank you for the few minutes that you had this morning with us here on Periscope. And for those that are watching, again, can you tell them about where they can find the Travis documentary?
Sure. The simplest site is traviswaltonthemovie.com. They can get all the information about the film. It's my website for film festivals and things, where the electronic press kit is. They can download banners and posters. They can click on the link, go right to YouTube. They can forward the trailer to their friends, which I would love it if they'd be willing to do, because then they're actively involved in helping to spread the news about the film. And if the film can be a bit of a breakthrough film, I'm hoping that humanity benefits from that. I mean, Travis feels like he's doing his part by talking and sharing about his story, and I'm doing my part by having made the film. And people who are in the watching audience who want to share that film with others, send the trailer to people, show up at film festivals.
I will do my share.
You certainly have. Thank you so
I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Have a great presentation, and we all look forward to it.
Thanks so much.
Talk to you soon.